Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
You get the prize for being the first one here. Well, I get the prize because I'm always the first one here.
Yeah, you get the prize.
Yeah. Let's see, Nancy, remind me what club you're with.
Ashland,
Oh,
Oregon.
great.
Yep.
Is it hot or is it smoky down there?
It has not been very smoky. We've been lucky so far, but it is certainly has been hot. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Been pretty
not
warm up in Cottage Grove, so I figured if it's warm up here, it's hot down there.
Yeah. Has it been like in the hundreds? Has it been 90s?
We had 2 or 3 days of 100, probably 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. But it's, yesterday was 85. That's pleasant.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I would take that.
Jim Polk's here. I better let him in. I get to talking and I forget to let people in the waiting room. Hi, Jim.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. Looks like you're in the forest.
No, that's actually right outside, about 75 feet outside the front door of my house.
Oh my goodness.
That was taken the middle of hunting season in 2015 when I didn't get a deer.
Oh, so you've got pictures of them just to remind yourself what they look like?
Oh yeah. They spent the entire hunting season basically in the yard.
Oh, man.
Sounds like they were taunting you.
A little
Yeah.
bit. I actually thought about, well, one pop with a 30-30. Then I went to get the mail, and 2 state police, a county deputy, and the game warden were all at City Hall 4 blocks away.
Yeah. Hi, Larry. And hi, Julie.
Hi, how are
I
you?
gotta show my picture, huh? Okay, here I am.
Christine.
Let's
Can you
see.
hear me
Oh,
okay?
Mimi's
My
here.
headset's had some issues. Is this okay? Can you hear me?
Oh, sure.
Perfect.
I bought a headset, but I just hated the feeling of it on my head, so I don't never use it. Patty Scott, look at all these prompt people. Let's see how many people we get today. It is July. Hi, Mimi.
Hi.
Patty.
Good. Hi, Julie.
Thanks for the information, Julie, on how to add Mimi, who's in here too, to delegate her, and I delegated her.
Oh, good, good.
And I know I still am responsible. It gave me all these warnings. You're not getting out of anything. But it's just one less step for Mimi to be able to get in and see what's what there.
It means I have no
Exactly.
excuses now, right?
Right. Well, I noticed last year's weren't kept up very well. That's kind of disappointing, but last year's leads.
Mhm.
I looked at them. I thought maybe I'd try and readdress them even.
It wouldn't hurt, especially the more current ones,
Right.
if you can.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, I saw some from 2019 that I thought, hey, it doesn't hurt. I have
And
to
you know what? When all else fails, just being really transparent and saying like, hey, this is kind of a new platform. We're so sorry. Are you still interested? Like it doesn't hurt to be, down to earth, because even if they're not, it leaves it on a positive note.
Right.
That's a great idea, Julie. Yeah.
Hi, Jill just joined us, Barbara, Rob, and Corey.
Hey, Corey.
Hey there.
Let's see, I'm trying to keep my eye on the waiting room, but I like to chat.
So I'm Larry at the top center, and I'm interested in the location we're all broadcasting from. Here's Jim out in the woods preparing for the fall hunt, and Patty is in a flight somewhere over a lake, and here's Bitco in a museum. And then Nancy is in the local law library. I mean, what could be better than all this info?
Bidco really, her name is really Jill. She's incognito.
Jill. Okay. Hi, Jill.
Hi.
Yeah, Barbara's on the coast somewhere. The rest of us are just at home in our offices, snore. Oops.
Well, I just went to Evanston and popped into Rotary One. So
I've gone to their meetings several times. Those are fun to go to. And all you have to do to get invited is just to get on their website and ask for an invite, and they'll send you one. It's really, it's really fun with Zoom to go to different clubs and see how they do things and how they do approach membership issues and stuff. You can learn a lot. Sometimes you learn about things that you're glad your club doesn't do, so you have to, you sift through it and see what fits for you.
Well, and staff is all mostly still working remotely, but we're heading back into the office in September. So And since I brought my office chair home, I will literally be rolling in. That much more of an entrance.
You'll have your files on your chair and roll them right in there, right?
Exactly.
Assuming you still have paper files. I have a few that I can't get rid of, but I try not to. And Corey, thank you so much for that workbook in a fillable PDF format. I'm about halfway done with it, which isn't that great considering the meeting's at 4 p.m. today, but hey, it's a start.
You're welcome.
What's going on with the rest of you guys? All quiet, or you just need your coffee before you have anything to say? Who's the last one that got a new member? Nobody?
I did.
Okay, tell us about that.
So
And then Larry.
we had a speaker named Pat Frimmer, and she was so interesting. She was kind of the former law librarian turned detective.
Ooh.
And I know, she was just fascinating. So I thought, okay, you need to be a Rotarian. And she has 4 or 5 houses spread out over the country. And it just so happened that I just got back from a 3-week vacation and I visited her in Idaho. And she lives on what's called a lake house, which is a house that literally floats on a lake.
Oh, float house,
And I'd never been in one. It was fascinating. Her garage was filled with a boat. And we sat out on the dock, and her husband built a barge. And we took the barge out, which is complete with a full kitchen, a fire pit, and a lounge. I mean, I felt like I was on some exotic cruise. It was amazing. So great new member. She's obviously very excited to be a Rotarian. And she's been with us about, I want to say, 4 months.
That's really cool, Jill. And I know where your parties might be.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's in Idaho for this.
Yeah,
summer,
it's a bit of a
go to
commute.
Idaho.
Yeah. Larry, how about you? You had your hand up.
Yes, I'm from Cottage Grove. I'm the membership committee chairman of Cottage Grove.
Oh, you're
And,
right here.
We had a gal, pardon?
You're right here. I live in Cottage Grove.
Yes, yes.
I'll wave out my window.
And, oh, there you are. Hi. So Stacy came to one of our club meetings just out of the blue. She saw our ad in the paper, and she's a new business person in town. So she came to the meeting, Zoom, and made connection with people she knew from her previous work. And she's a ball of fire. So she then joined up the club in a 3-week process, then came to our changing of the guard and hit it off well with a lot of folks. So she's off and running.
All right.
Remember Stacy. Yeah.
It can be done. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started. Our topic this month is effective membership committees or membership chairs, depending on how your club handles members. So Julie Aubry, I'm glad to say, is back with us again. She's the regional membership officer at Rotary International, and she works with the Western United States and the Southwest part of Canada. So, you know, it's great that she even answers phone calls when I say, hey, will you fill in the blank? But she's there to support membership growth, engagement through strategic planning, vibrant membership initiatives, new club development, promoting member resources, tools, information, data. If you want to know how to delegate your, oh, never mind. That was just me that I wanted to know. Anyway, she's there if you have questions, which, you know, we always do. So she earned her bachelor degree, Bachelor of Arts from Dominican University, and has a background working in theater. So if she gets a little overly dramatic, we'll know why. She enjoys traveling, hiking, costume design, and volunteering with new Rotary clubs. So she's out of Evanston, Illinois, and zoomed all the way to be with us here today. I'm going to give Corey Leparty also kudos real quick for zooming down from Washington, and he is our regional membership support guy, and I asked him for some help as currently as yesterday and got it yesterday afternoon. So these are really wonderful resources that we have at our fingertips or at our Zoom meetings or telephone calls or emails or texts. With that, Julie, take it away.
Thanks so much. And if you wouldn't mind changing it so I can share my screen real quick.
Oh, that's right. You got to remind me about those things.
No worries.
Make a co-host. Yes, I do. Okay, you should be there now.
Okay, here we go. Oops. Come on. Okay, can everybody see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. And really just want to, give some best practices to start with. Obviously we're not going to cover everything that might happen today. So just a few things, but then I'll definitely be interested to hear where you all are coming from. If you're starting with a membership committee that you inherited, if you're help building it now, if you're a committee of one, or even a committee of none, if you're the club president here trying to build that committee, we're all coming from a different place. So hopefully some of these things will help get you started. Don't get overwhelmed. All of this can be adjusted to what you're currently facing. But we'll hopefully set you up for success, not only this year, but in maybe the next 3 to 5 years to come too. And thank you so much, Christine, for that warm welcome. Yeah, I'm really excited to be working with Western United States and everyone. And actually, I'm currently a club president of a new Rotary Club I just helped charter too. So I'm in the thick of it with you as well. So there we go. So this is like the most abbreviated checklist, right? Like membership really has kind of a serious role. The overlying thing is that you really want to create a great member, a great club experience. And all of these things feed into that, whether it's, working on attracting new members, creating that or improving upon that new member orientation that you have so that they really truly understand what it means to be a member of your club and they don't feel like they're on the outside of everything, kind of looking in. Keeping those new and existing members engaged. A lot of times people, they look at attracting new members and they're like, wait, why would I want to bring in new members if the old members are leaving? These are both things that we should be working on in tandem and not focusing too much on one or the other. New members can create new life, bring new ideas. Existing members, those skills, those wonderful traits, that commitment to Rotary, all of these things are vital to a great club culture. And speaking of creating and sustaining that healthy club culture, making sure your club is reflective of the community, brings some equity to membership and how people might be able to best engage with the club, leading and supporting change as it's needed. I think we all can say in the past 2 years, there's been quite a bit of change and sometimes rapidly so. Your support in helping manage those expectations, checking in with members are all part of that club culture. And that's just one example of change. Change can take many different forms. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And then overseeing membership leads. Christine and Mimi and I were just talking about, there's some leads from the past that could be looked in on. That's just another platform in which you might receive interested parties just want to get to know your club. And sometimes it's just about getting information and they're like, oh, that's cool that you do. It's not for me right now, but making sure that it's still a positive, engaging experience, just like anyone else you would meet on the street that would ask about your club. So that's the quickest little checklist there. But then I really like this visual to really kind of bring it all together on how this all works. And it's a lot for one committee to oversee. And that's where delegation, really being specific and thoughtful about how you build your committee, or how maybe you add one new person or two new people to your committee of one, can help kind of spread out, delegate, and be able to focus on more than one thing at a time. So one thing I really want to emphasize is first starting to think about not just what warm body is available to help on this committee, but being really strategic about the personality and skills of certain members that you might recruit to be on this committee. You know, friendly, somebody that has no problem walking up to a stranger that's new to your club and just like starting up a conversation with them, keep being organized, being curious. And I list curious because you don't just want them to be curious about new members, but you also want them to stay curious about your existing members. What's going on in their lives? What new skills have they acquired? How are they feeling about their current club experience? You know, being able to look into these things, having a good communication style with, so that there's not people working in silos amongst the committee. And then not taking things personally. I mean that in, again, kind of that talking with members, or even taking feedback from the public if they've tried to engage with the club and before and they've had a negative experience. Not taking that to heart, but if anything, taking that as a cool new challenge to be like, cool, I'm so sorry that's been your experience. We're going to do better. Like, let's think about how we can do better, and not be stunted or feel so downtrodden when that feedback is maybe received. And I really like to consider some of the roles that you might start working with. You know, a campaigner, one of those people that just happen, they like seem to know everyone in the community. Somehow, if you bring up an idea, they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so from this, they're doing this and this and this. They happen to have the know-it-all with everyone. That's a great person, even if they're not on the committee, but just to like tap their skills, their connections, their resources on who they know, and maybe how we can get better connected with them from the club perspective. The greeter, and this doesn't necessarily have to be the formal position of the greeter at the door, right? You know, people who are taking the money for the meal or handing out pins and stuff like that, but more of like somebody that's just really willing to see maybe the lost face in the crowd and go over and talk to them and see how they're doing, make sure that they understand what they've just entered, maybe entering their first Rotary Club meeting ever. Closer, I really like this. Both the campaigner and greeter are really great for maybe getting the person in the door, maybe making sure they feel pretty good about it. But every once in a while, you've got that person that you're really not kind of sure why they haven't joined the club yet, even though they've been asked to become a member. And so, or maybe finessing how to ask that person to become a member. For example, there's been a case that I heard about where there was this person, they were rock star Rotarian, but they weren't a Rotarian yet. And they didn't really say why. And it was kind of a mystery. So the membership chair, you know, after 6 months of wooing and really cheerleading this person on, reached out to them for kind of a come to Jesus moment to see like, what's going on? Like, is it a money thing? Like, you know, I think you're so awesome, I would be willing to sponsor you. And they were like, no, it's not the money. I'm like, is there something turning you off about the club? And they're like, no, it's not that either. And they're like, what would it take to make you join us? Because you're awesome. We think that you can take a lot from our club, that we can get a lot from you, that this is a great opportunity. And it came down to this person had a really hard time setting boundaries because they would get so excited about projects that they would over sign up for things. So that membership chair kind of made a deal saying, well, I can't do anything if you volunteer in the middle of a meeting, but maybe for the first like 6 months, how about you just channel through me? You know, like, I think I'm interested in this, and like kind of I'll coach you through and I'll help you set up those boundaries. Because I think you'd be an excellent asset to our club. And it worked. That kind of an unusual thing to hold the person back from joining, but essentially that's what that person needed to become part of that Rotary family. And it was a big success story. So again, kind of that curious, but closer, like trying to get to the point of helping them really get engaged with the club. And then the engager, somebody that kind of keeps check-ins with members on a regular basis, make sure no one feels left behind. A lot of times when there's a lot of focus on attracting new members, some of the existing members can kind of feel left in the dust. And this is somebody that can really be focusing on the big picture and all the members and their experience. Create opportunity. A lot of times, you know, there's the voluntold, right? Where you're telling people, oh, well, you're going to be on that. It's not always really well received. But if you're hearing somebody give feedback about how the club could be better, or how we're not engaging this part of the community, or why don't we try doing things differently this way? Even if you put the call out to kind of bring in new committee members, I would say specifically approaching somebody like that saying, I think you have a lot to offer on this committee. Like you have an eye for what could really improve the club. I would love to see you join this. I would say about half the time they're like, yeah, like they take it as a compliment, and it should be taken as a compliment. They're seeing these opportunities, but maybe they haven't envisioned themselves in that role yet. So you're kind of opening their eyes to the possibilities, and they would benefit from it too. Creating continuity, right? You don't want to be building this team every single year. And then maybe the goals from one year to another are drastically different, or how things are done, you're reinventing a wheel. Kind of making sure that some of these messaging, some of the people are carrying through from year to year. So maybe somebody that was on the membership committee last year but wasn't the chair, maybe they'll become the chair this year. This is something that you can work through with your club president. And then utilizing resources. There are so many things to help you so that you don't have to start from square one. And just a really quick view of what that looks like. There's a membership committee checklist. There's literally a checklist that already exists. Take from it what you will. And I'm going to be sending out links to this in the follow-up. There are plan templates. If you want to create just a membership development plan, that exists, but there's also a strategic plan template. And that's something that you could work with maybe the other committees and your current club president. And these templates can kind of help you format things for the next 3 to 5 years. Surveys and assessments. If you really want to get to the heart of how your members feel about their experience, there are really easy, quick ones where it's kind of like a pulse check to see if you're on the right path. And then there's more deeper dive assessments to kind of figure out, is there a bigger issue at hand? Do we need more work, more hands on this? Membership pages. So on My Rotary, there's a membership page with a whole bunch of different resources for any given situation. And also on the Rotary Zone Big West Rotary website, they have membership resources as well. A lot of them created by Rotarians in a similar situation to you. So I'm going to be creating links to send to you afterwards. There's the Learning Center on My Rotary. I mean, there is really a robust amount of different courses and resources available there that are, you know, they go at your own pace. They don't have to be done live. They can be done when you feel like it. As you can see there, there's a club membership committee basics. That would be a great package for any new committee member to maybe take over a certain period of time. And then people, if you get stuck along the way, you know, ask for help. People like, we don't know what you're needing or that you're struggling if you suffer in silence. So reach out. You've got a whole bunch of people at your disposal to help you in any given situation. And then next steps. So work on recruiting a team. That's kind of the first step, right? Start maybe identifying, writing down some names today on who might be a good fit to fill out your committee. Create goals and a plan. really, and write them down if you can. I mean, typing's great too, but there's something I've heard like scientifically that it really sticks in your brain if you write it down. So start with the goals and then create a plan to accomplish those goals. And again, there are templates that you can use to make this possible. Assess. If you want to use maybe the Rotary Club Health Check, which is like a really easy checklist, it can be done electronically in case your club isn't meeting in person, if they're meeting online. There's a link that could be shared to that. See how they're feeling about different aspects of the club. Create a process and templates. And what I mean by that is if you are rewriting and starting from scratch every new message to maybe a prospective member that came to events or somebody that stopped by the meeting or the speaker, you're burning a lot of energy starting from scratch every time. Maybe creating some kind of shared templates with your committee so that people know what information would sound great to a prospective member, or maybe what the next steps are for someone that attended a meeting, or working on what's coming up that they might be interested in getting involved with, different things like that. So kind of maybe start looking at that process and how you can streamline some things and just customize things just a little bit based on that person. This is also a great opportunity to collaborate with other committees. Your public image committee, they can help you if there's a flyer that you want to have, or if you want to use the customizable club brochure, something like that, they can work with you to help create that those materials for prospective members. Or maybe there's something on your website that could really benefit membership overall. You can work with them. Same thing with foundation. If there's an event that's happening, a fundraiser, where maybe it could be made more dynamic with something that would include attracting prospective members, it would really, really make current members happier in that experience. Again, there's a lot of opportunity to not just, basically the endpoint, don't work in a vacuum. If you're a team of one, try and build on that team. If you've got a team, make sure you're starting to work better and more clearly with the other committees that exist. And that's all I've got. So I want to open it up if there's any ideas that have kind of spurred for you, if there's any challenges that you're feeling stuck with, I would love to hear from you. Oh, Christine, you're muted. Oh, I like your list though. And you're still muted, Christine. Okay. Rob, I think everyone's still muted.
There we go.
There we go. I'm starting to wonder if it was the sound on my computer. Go for it.
Are we waiting for Christine to comment? She had something she was waving, but she's muted, so we can't hear her.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was muted. Rob, did you have something?
Actually, I didn't, but I think it's been a really hard year for all of us in membership. It's really hard to attract new members on Zoom. We only attract about a third of our club on Zoom. These are existing members. So it's not the typical year, but it's a year that as we move into our new presidency and whatnot, it's the opportunity to plan ahead and maybe shake things up. I think it's been a time for some reflection. And we may shake some members out in the process because there may be some things we're going to be doing as a club that just going to run against the grain. But it may be the necessary things to attract new and particularly younger members. What we've done on our Zoom is we all have artificial faces. We all look like we're about 30. And so when people, no, but it's an idea. Anyway, so we're using the time, we've been using the spring to think ahead and think about the plans for membership growth. But our biggest struggle, and I'm sure everybody's doing this, is just keeping our current members engaged. And that means phoning people that aren't showing up to the meetings, asking them how they're doing, asking them what we can do to make it easier for them to participate, and those kinds of issues. But it's been a very trying time, but it's exciting at the same time. And I guess that's the sense that I want in our club, is a sense of opportunity, and not just bemoaning the fact that it's been a hard year. It's going to change, we hope, and soon. That's just a bit of a preamble. I didn't have anything to say.
Well, that was pretty good for not having anything to say. How many of you have had a physical meeting where everybody was so darn excited to get back together that it was hard to control the meeting? We definitely have. Patty, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I have a question about last year when we, were in Zoom. A number of people didn't renew their memberships because they didn't want to do it by Zoom, and we expect a lot of those people to come back once we go back to face. Are people going to change how they bring people in with somebody that was like a Rotarian for a number of years, or are you going to follow the same process, like red badge and all that stuff?
I would say if it's like a relocating or returning Rotarian, I would alter that. Because they might even find it a little insulting to have to like start all from scratch. But I think that that's maybe like that backup plan that could happen was like if you did something like red badge, maybe crossing off the list things that make them have to learn about Rotary, but enforce them connecting with the club in different ways. Like if they're relocating, maybe giving them some information about maybe where your club is as it stands, like newer information they might have missed, or newer information from their other club experience. But I would say really just trying to get them connected on the committees, get them engaged with other members, because things will either be new to them in this club or will have changed since they last were in the club. But I think you could make some kind of altered experience for them.
We are doing something on a lot of our members that left are members that were unengaged and young professionals or families. So they were using the I'm busy excuse, or my job excuse, or my family excuse. We are having on August 3rd, a networking family-friendly evening at a local pizza parlor where people can bring their kids after work, go buy whatever they want at the pizza parlor, have a beer, have a glass of wine or not, whichever. And just a real kind of a social / networking event. And I'm going to personally invite not only our young professional members that are maybe lacking in engagement, but I'm also going to invite all the ones we've lost, any friends of Rotary. It's like, I've learned this from the satellite club that we started, that those guys invite the whole community to all of their events. And you know what? People are like, well, this is interesting. Tell me about Rotary, instead of the hard sell recruiting kind of a mentality. And it's a lot more fun. So we're going to give the kids name badges and the parents, and so everybody can know everybody. And we might invite a few people off the street, who knows, anybody that looks like they're interested. And that sounds like fun. Another thing that we're doing is this Thursday, our meeting we didn't have a program, which was the issue. So the president decided to cancel the lunch meeting, and we're going to go to the baseball game. We're going to meet at the baseball game. And so I guess what I'm talking about is, while everybody's so excited about getting back together physically, do some offbeat stuff. Try, ready, shoot, aim. try some new stuff, and then if it doesn't work, or if it does, react accordingly. Anyway.
I'd like to second that, because our club last week, 2 weeks ago, had our first in-face meeting. We're not meeting in our normal place. We had it after work, just as you mentioned. We had it in the park. We had it in the Rotary picnic shelter that we had constructed in Corvallis. And it was amazing, the amount of, it was like the kickstart for our year. People were so glad to be together. It was outdoors. People here mainly are vaccinated anyway. They invited friends, they invited family, and there was just it was like, I know how I was the first time I met with friends without our mask, and it was just like kind of an elation, like, wow. But it hit the whole club. So it was a really neat thing. And I second that idea of having some kind of event where you get families and friends. And we invited some people we've done grants with, and we invited some others, that just the friends of Rotary, if you will. And I think all of us were surprised, and everybody was delighted, and it's helping us to get kickstarted in our in-person meetings, which will start next month. We're going to do the hybrid, so we'll have it available as a Zoom for those that can't make it, and maybe bring in some speakers that way, as well as have it in face-to-face meetings. So, but I really go back. I think your point's perfect. It's just a great way to kick off and start re-energizing people, and it really did.
Who else has a harebrained scheme? Mimi. Unmute.
Okay. No, I have to agree. We had, well, first I want to thank Julie for her presentation, and you are so right about the amount of resources that's available to us. It's great. And I actually consider you as dialing 411 back in the days. But, and it's interesting what you said about writing it down, because as I was putting my plan together for my year, this year as president, I was doing it all on the computer. And then I thought back and I pulled out some of my notes from when I was president of, when I lived in California in the San Francisco Bay Area. I was president in that club 25 years ago to the day, to the year. And everything was handwritten. And I thought, there's something to be said about handwriting, because I just feel like I own it. And I remember it and everything. And so thank you for validating that for me. So I'm it for our club as far as membership, because we don't have a membership chair, and trying to be president and membership, it's a challenge, but it's also exciting. I like our Rotary International president's theory of each one bring one. And we had our very first meeting was also at night offsite. It was at a winery. And like everybody else, it was unbelievable. It was like a class reunion where everybody came out, all the members, and of course their spouses, and were invited, and it was wonderful. And then last Thursday we had the first official meeting, and there's still so many that are not willing to come, feeling comfortable to come back yet, but that's okay. One of the things that I'm going to do in my year, I decided, is to, as membership chair, I bought a big deck of cards. And every week we're going to play. On the other side of the card is a classification. That one was radio, if you couldn't see. This is postman, newspaper, wildlife. It's different classifications. So we're going to play Does Anybody Have? And have a member pick up a card. And then, so if they pick up newspaper, does anybody have a contact with someone at the newspaper? And then I made up a form that, a little square that they can fill out, that it'll be out their tables, and they can fill out the name of their someone they know, and the business name and phone number. And then I have a check. If they can check it off saying they will contact them for possible membership to bring them in as a guest, or they would like someone else to. And I'm giving them points for bringing new members in. And
Oh, incentivizing.
yes, and see where that goes. I don't know if it's gonna work.
Hey, it's ready, shoot, aim, you guys. You don't have to research it thoroughly and, to get results. Just try stuff. Stephen, you want to unmute yourself? Your hand is up too.
Yeah, I wanted to share something we're trying next Tuesday. We've decided as we got back, we had one of the first events after they started to open things up in California, and it was a successful fundraiser bicycle ride. And we're having a membership or a sponsor appreciation night at a local wine bistro, where every one of the sponsors that comes in gets a ticket for a free glass of whatever they want. And we're doing a 17-minute, 4-second long PowerPoint presentation. It includes pictures of the bike ride, a little bit about Rotary. It starts out with the 4-way test and a little bit about our club mission statement, a lot of photographs about the bike ride. And then it talks a little bit about what Rotary Club of Wairika does, how we do it, and what it means to be a member. And we end up with a list of the things we've sponsored over the past 2 years. So, and we already had, as of last Wednesday, 21 confirmed participants that are going to take place. And we're inviting all the old members who didn't renew last year because of COVID. So we'll see how it goes, but it's just thinking outside the box. It's a first time event.
I think we should give prizes for outside the box thinking. The farther out of the box you are, the more harebrained the scheme, the better. Because, one thing that Rotary has recognized is that we need to change. We need to evolve. And so trying new things, even if you end up shooting yourself in the foot, you got another foot, you can still hop around, try something else. So anybody else have an idea? Or want to, yeah, Jill.
So we do what is called a Rotary Loves Jacksonville. I'm with the Jacksonville Applegate Club. And, our little town was hit really hard with the COVID. The restaurants closed, the shops, nobody was in town. So we're going to bring this back to the community, and we do a very casual drop-in beer, wine, hors d'oeuvres. Love your cat, Christine. And we specifically go around and personally invite all of the merchants. And we had a really great turnout the last time, but it's been about 3 years, so we're going to bring it back.
Good deal. Anybody else want to take the pressure off me while a cat's bugging me? Corey.
I'd like to throw out a comment or two.
Okay.
In doing the recognition, helping IPDG Cindy do her recognition, looking at membership for our district. Just so everybody knows, as of July 1st, the district lost 232 members for the 2021 year. Hopefully we can change that and reverse that trend and bring in 232 at least this year. Just comments.
I think that Rotary is really good at getting members. What we really need to focus on, in my mind, is nurturing and keeping the members that we get. This is the same thing. I come from a business background, and they always say it's easier to retain a customer than to go out and get another customer. It's very expensive to go out and get a new customer. But if we just treat the ones we have really good, then they stay with us, and it's a lot better deal for us financially in the business world and membership wise in our Rotary world. So these ideas of what I call harebrained schemes, that we're trying new things to get people re-engaged and reinvigorated about, hey, Rotary's fun. And Rotary's, you know, yeah, during these kind of events, whatever they are, we can talk about our projects, and we can talk about, you know, some new ideas for meeting formats, and, you know, whatever else comes up. That I like to, Julie, you talked about the 3 to 5 year vision, and we're doing that as we, you know, we're doing that in our club, that trying to get an idea of what people want in the future. Our problem is that the people that answered the visioning questions are the ones that have been there for a long time, and the ones that didn't answer them are newer members that I'm more worried about. So I've got some ideas of how to, that's one of the things that this family friendly event is going to address. Nancy.
Thank you. And thank you for that great presentation. That really helped me, because I'm very new to Rotary. I've been with Rotary about 1.5 years, and I've been doing the membership thing during the COVID time, which has been very interesting, trying to learn about Rotary and about membership during this period of time. The good news is we have not lost a lot of members, but we sort of, and I get this impression from talking to other folks in Rotary that this is the kind of the way it works. You kind of bring one in the front door as one is leaving out the back door, and it's so our state seems to be pretty static. We keep the same sort of balance. But one thing I've been thinking about that I think I'd like to try. I don't know if you guys have done this before, but I'm really good at like bringing people in, but I'm not the one to plan parties. That I'm the introverted. I'm putting the structure together and not, you know, the process. And then, but we do have another delightful person that I'm working with who loves that. She's extremely effusive and extroverted and really wants to do that part. So we're going to separate things. So I'm going to do membership, bringing them in the door, and she's going to be responsible for member care. Because I agree with you totally, Christine. I think we can bring people in, but if we don't nurture them and get them attached and make them feel valued and include, it's going to be, we're going to keep losing people. One question that I have, if you guys wouldn't mind indulging me, we're trying to, I want to put together a focus group and find out what's working for people, what isn't, what do we do, what do we need to do in terms of, do we need a satellite club? How do we attract other kinds of diverse candidates to Rotary? Did you guys, when you've done these surveys, do you throw it wide open, or do you target like 30 and 40-year-olds, or, you know, so any advice that you could give me would be great.
Who's got some advice?
I think one thing to keep in mind too is that even if you're using a survey or an assessment, it doesn't necessarily have to be written down. It could be facilitated.
Well, that's what I like to do, is focus groups. I think that's more valuable. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I target focus groups, or do I make it more diverse and include all demographics?
Maybe there's one survey that goes out to all the members in the club so that they all feel like they've been able to contribute. And then maybe from there, based on what you're hearing back, kind of doing a follow-up to do the focus groups. Just one idea.
Mm-hmm.
You can do something at your lunch meeting if you're meeting in tables, or if you're meeting on Zoom, you can do it in breakout rooms where you do little mini focus groups and ask them a question and then have them come back and debrief. And one thing Rotarians love to do is talk to each other. So it's kind of a win-win situation. You get some good ideas that way. We're doing a combination of the surveys, but we sent them out to everybody. I thought about segmenting them, but for several reasons, we didn't end up doing that. But then when we have focus groups, we will probably have them kind of segmented by younger professionals, possibly. And I don't want to call them old timers, but face it, that's what some of us are. So I think, Nancy, don't sell yourself short. The fact that you're brand new in Rotary is awesome, because you don't know the old ways. You don't know what's tried and true, because some of those tried and true things don't work anymore anyway. So ready, shoot, aim.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support.
And call me if I can do any, if I can help in any personal way, as, just as district membership chair.
Thank you.
Let's see, who haven't we heard from? Should I pick on somebody? I know some of you are introverts and you hate it if I pick on you, so I won't pick on you.
Oh, that's okay. You can pick on me.
Okay. You're not that well, you are kind of introverted, but you push yourself, don't you, Corey?
That's right.
Corey,
Thanks for
why don't you
recognizing that.
talk a little bit about your focus-based clubs that we were talking about the other day? I think that is something, we've talked about satellite clubs, but talk about, oh gosh, and then I've got to do a poll before we're done.
Okay, I'll keep it brief. So somebody here was talking about how they couldn't bring in new members during COVID-19, during the pandemic, during the last year and a half. And in our district and in a few other districts, but I'll use ours because I know we started a new club in our district based around a cause. And so it was a community-based cause. It was an eco club. They had a water feature, Shawnigan Lake, that there were already people in the area that cared about it, and most of them weren't Rotarians. So they reached out to all the different groups that support that water system and started finding like-minded individuals that were interested in working on projects around that lake, and they introduced them to the idea of a Rotary Club. And it took most of the last Rotary year, but they chartered with 20 members in June, and only one of those members is a Rotarian. And their only official in-person meeting, they had some individual work party cleanup things where they sent people out and said, this is a cleanup day, go clean up your part of the lake. But their only in-person meeting so far, last Rotary year anyway, was their charter event. So they spent the whole year meeting online and getting to know each other and bringing in new members, all via Zoom. So it can be done, and it can be done if you find a reason for people to want to meet online. And that goes whether it's a traditional club or whether it's a new club based around a cause. If you're not giving your members a reason, a why, they're going to continue to do the other things. I mean, their job is giving them a why. Their kids are giving them a why. Their family is giving them a why. And all those whys are probably screaming a lot louder than Rotary is. So, your club needs to find its reason why, whether it's a project or an idea. It can't be lunch anymore. Meeting around a meal. We've all experienced that can be taken away from us very quickly. And all of a sudden we don't have our why anymore. So I would encourage your clubs to find their why, and they'll find it's a lot easier to bring in members when you're bringing them around that why than it is to bringing them around a meal. I'm not saying you can't have meals, but I'm saying that probably isn't the best reason to have the meeting.
That is so true. I know with our younger audience or younger membership demographic, the meal might be an expensive that they don't want to or can't afford. And the lunchtime option is something that is difficult to schedule, and the list goes on. Julie did put some things in the chat box, but first I want to poll you guys real quick. And I'm looking towards the future in the next, say, 5 months or so. I want to know what topics you want to focus on at our membership forums. So I'm going to launch this poll, and please vote for as many as you want that sound good to you. Can you see it? Can you see it? Okay. Yeah, we got some, and I will share what the options are. Whoops. Let's see. Ooh. Now we're getting some votes. Took you guys a while to read it all. Let's see, 9. All right, well, I'll end the polling then. Is anybody still waiting to put their answers in? Say something, because I can't see because my poll's in the middle of the screen. Okay, then I'm going to end the polling and share the results. Can you see them? Okay, so it looks like meeting member expectations is kind of the new jargon. You know, customers have expectations in a business environment. Our members have expectations when they come and join our Rotary Club. If we don't meet them on an ongoing basis, then we're going to lose them. And people say that you only get one chance to make a good first impression. That's bogus. If that was true, if you only had one chance to make a good first impression, why would we have divorces? So we have to keep our good impressions going on and on. So that's what that's all about. So that looks like that's going to be next month's topic. And we'll be talking about that. But we've got 4 minutes left. So we've got time for an idea or two, or a question or a problem or a solution. I'm going to start humming the Jeopardy song if you guys don't do something. Do, 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 do. Mimi, unmute.
Okay. One of our goals is to have monthly offsite evening meetings. And we're encouraging the spouses to come, and then we're going to have like a family picnic day or evening. And we're also inviting our Interact to come to those meetings as well.
Good deal. Anybody try any community events where you just invite anybody to come? Oh, Rob, sorry, you had
A little different, but we learned that the Boy Scout troop here in Corvallis, one of them, Troop 170, was working with the Jackson Street Youth Shelter and doing some things, and we've been working with them. And so we're applying for one of those $500 action grants to bring the Boy Scout or the Scouts and the Rotarians together to work jointly with the youth center, just as a way of expanding connection between generations for sure. And I think it'll be energizing for the whole group.
Very good. You know, how many of you have Toastmasters in your areas? Anybody? A few people? There's a new relationship between Toastmasters and Rotary, and Toastmasters gives people leadership training, professional development, how to speak in front of a crowd of a Zoom audience or what have you. And that might be a fun idea for a cooperative event of some sort. We're also doing a cooperative social event with our Eugene 2030 Club, which is interesting to me because that's an audience. What do they do when they graduate out of the 2030 Club? They're, you know, like 40 years old. Then where do they go? And they're very interested in supporting youth. So there might be a cause base or a project that we already have that they could help with.
To piggyback on the idea of utilizing the relationship we have with Toastmasters, that's another thing that your committee could be looking at, is do your members actually know how to speak about your club? Or does it kind of rabble on to something that makes sense to someone who's a member, but to the, kind of earlier talking about like Corey's why, like it used to be lunch, you can't use that excuse anymore. If that's the main descriptor of what your club is about, it's probably not very attractive, right? Oh, we have lunch and we do this, like, but maybe even having some kind of, competition amongst members to see like who has the best elevator pitch, or most engaging or fun elevator pitch about your club could inspire them and give other members language about how to just talk casually about it. So
that's true. And people ask in networking events, what do you do? They're going to ask, what's Rotary? So thank you all for coming. Julie will be sending she'll send her slideshow and her supporting documents to us, which I'll forward out tomorrow, along with, again, the link to our YouTube channel that has not only today's video recording, but all of our sessions on that. So if you want to go back and review some of the good ideas we've had. Next month, we will be meeting on the third Tuesday. I might have a bonus meeting scheduled. Our District 5110 celebration is over at the Deschutes County Fairgrounds, and I've asked for a room to have a district membership meeting. I want to see what some of you people actually look like if you're coming to the celebration, and I have an idea for it. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, hope to see you there one way or another, and I hope I get that meeting space, but I bet I will because I'm kind of a nag. Anyway, so I will be back in touch with you tomorrow with a recap, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Chris.
I know you're all busy. I'll let you go.
Thank you, Julie.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
bye.
Julie, again, and thanks, Corey, for your support too. You guys are awesome. Remember the why.